family, this is Curtis and John. If it's on land, it will end up in the ocean. And for every fish that chokes on our waste, someone's livelihood dies too. Some say, please stop marine pollution. So many islands, familiar connections, sharing resources, one economy.
More than just islands, a civilization of history and culture and shared destiny.
Why wouldn't we care? One Caribbean sea. We all belong here. One economy.
Making future sense of our present tense. We're giving it all we are. Our moment is here.
One Caribbean sea.
Values we all hold dear.
One economy.
Love and glory, the joys of our journey will surely inspire the earth.
Yo, this is Skinny Fabulous. Check this for a second. When your plastics, engine oil, factory waste, and fertilizer runoff end up in the sea, that's a real bad vibe. Trust me, gotta cut it out. We all have to stop that. And that's the memo right there.
Why wouldn't we care? One Caribbean sea. We can prosper right here.
One Caribbean
By giving it all we are worth.
by cherishing the lands of our birth. Why wouldn't we care
One Caribbean sea.
for the oceans we share?
One economy.
Painting this picture and framing our future. We're giving it all we are.
Hey OECS, this is Mikhail Henderson. This song is real, just like our ocean. Think ahead, act now. Stop littering the land and protect our sea. Your garbage, your house, your garage, your factory, your move. It's that simple.
We're keepers of ocean and earth.
One Caribbean sea.
We're giving it all we are worth.
One economy.
We cherish the lands of our birth.
One Caribbean sea. Our treasures of blue sky and sun. One economy. One Caribbean sea. One economy. One Caribbean sea. Our treasures of blue sky and sun. One Caribbean sea.
Frankie, you know I'm traveling to Antigua this afternoon and I forgot my passport at home? Boy, it's a good thing I have my driver's license. I'll still be able to travel.
Oh, how can you travel to Antigua without your passport?
Under the OECS Freedom of Movement regime, OECS citizens can travel to any of the 7 protocol member states without a passport, once they have an official and valid identification card with their picture and nationality on it.
Really? Since when?
Since the establishment of the Eastern Caribbean OECS Economic Union under the revised Treaty of Basse-Terre, it entered into force in 2011.
So, you mean to tell me that I can leave St. Lucia and go to another OECS country with just my driver's license or national ID, and customs and immigration won't stop me?
Yes, you can even use your voter's registration card or social security card. As a matter of fact, as a citizen of an OECS protocol member state, you are entitled to indefinite stay when you travel to another OECS protocol member state, so you can live and work without a work permit or skilled national certificate.
As a construction worker here, I could take my trade to Grenada or any other OECS country?
Yes, Frankie, you're straight.
And what about my wife and children's schooling?
Frankie, OECS citizens and their children will be granted equal rights and privileges under the freedom of movement. That includes access to social services, labor market schemes, health and education for your children and your wife.
This free movement thing sounds nice. Hassle-free travel to any OECS country, live and work for as long as you like. The OECS Economic Union is the real deal. For more information, visit www.oecs.org. On June 18, 1981, representatives of the governments of Antigua and Barbuda, the Commonwealth of Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines signed the Treaty of Bastille, establishing a new organization for cooperation among their countries, the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS. It replaced the West Indies Associated States Council of Ministers, which was devised by the UK government in 1967, under which the countries worked together in civil aviation, tourism, the judiciary, monetary matters, and relations with CARICOM. The OECS has widened to include 3 associated members, including Anguilla, the British Virgin Islands, and as recently as February 2015, the French region of Martinique, creating a regional body of 10 member states. The OECS member states continue to benefit through cooperation in education, the environment, healthcare, and tourism, among other development areas. Through the revised Treaty of Bastille in 2010, the 7 founding member states have also formed an economic union aimed at promoting faster growth and development among themselves. The governing body of the OECS is the OECS Authority, consisting of the head of government of each member state. It is supported by other organs of the OECS, including the Council of Ministers, an Economic Affairs Council, the OECS Assembly, and the OECS Commission. The OECS Commission is the secretariat of the OECS and is headed by a Director General. OECS Integration, uniting for a brighter future for all our citizens. What is the Eastern Caribbean Economic Union? Well, quite simply, an economic union is an agreement among a group of countries that allows the free movement of capital, people, goods, and services among these countries without restrictions being imposed. Countries in an economic union also adopt a common set of social policies like access to healthcare, education, and jobs, and also monetary policies aimed at ensuring their economies remain stable and prosperous. It's like many small cogwheels coming together to form one large, interdependent, and strong system. Why was the Eastern Caribbean Economic Union established, and which countries are in it? An economic union facilitates a pooling of resources among its members to allow more business and competitive outcomes and enhance economic opportunities for citizens. As of the signing of the revised Treaty of Bastille on June 18, 2010, 7 member states of the OECS established the Eastern Caribbean Economic Union: Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Other OECS member states are free to join the union. How does the Eastern Caribbean Economic Union benefit me? You can now visit, live, and work in any member state without the need for a work permit or skill certificate and have access to all services. Your employment options are therefore expanded. As a consumer, you will have duty-free access to a wider number of sellers beyond your shores, as goods moving between member states will no longer attract import duties and charges. As a business owner, you benefit because you have the right to establish in any member state. So, if say Carib Tile wants to expand across the OECS, there are no longer any restrictions and technical barriers to establishing their business. The union is also good for service providers such as doctors, teachers, tradesmen, accountants, who can now provide their services to clients in other member states. The OECS has a proud history and bright future, and together, through our economic union, we are working to deliver a better standard of living for all of our citizens.
family, this is Tedison John. If it's on land, it will end up in the ocean. And for every fish that chokes on our waste, someone's livelihood dies too. Some say, please stop marine pollution. So many islands, familiar connections, sharing resources, one economy.
More than just islands, a civilization of history and culture and shared destiny.
Why wouldn't we care? One Caribbean sea. We all belong here. One new economy.
Making future sense of our present tense. We're giving it all we own. Our moment is here.
One Caribbean sea.
Values we all hold dear.
One new economy.
Love and glory, the joys of our journey will surely inspire the earth.
Yo, this is Skinny Fabulous. Check this for a second. When your plastics, engine oil, factory waste, and fertilizer runoff end up in the sea, that's a real bad vibe. Trust me, gotta cut it out. We all have to stop that. And that's the memo right there.
Why wouldn't we care? One Caribbean sea. We can prosper right here.
Caribbean
By giving it all we are worth.
by cherishing the lands of our birth. Why wouldn't we care
One Caribbean sea.
for the oceans we share?
One new economy.
Painting this picture and framing our future. We're giving it all we own.
Hey OECS, this is Mikhail Henderson. This song is real, just like our ocean. Think ahead, act now. Stop littering the land and protect our sea. Your garbage, your house, your garage, your factory, your move. It's that simple.
We're keepers of ocean and earth.
One Caribbean sea.
We're giving it all we own.
One new economy.
We cherish the lands of our birth.
One Caribbean sea. Our treasures of blue sky and sun. One new economy. One Caribbean sea. One new economy. One Caribbean sea. Our treasures of blue sky and sun. One Caribbean sea.
Frankie, you know I'm traveling to Antigua this afternoon and I forgot my passport at home? Boy, it's a good thing I have my driver's license. I'll still be able to travel.
Oh, how can you travel to Antigua without your passport?
Under the OECS Freedom of Movement regime, OECS citizens can travel to any of the 7 protocol member states without a passport, once they have an official and valid identification card with their picture and nationality on it.
Really? Since when?
Since the establishment of the Eastern Caribbean OECS Economic Union under the revised Treaty of Basse-Terre, it entered into force in 2011.
So, you mean to tell me that I can leave St. Lucia and go to another OECS country with just my driver's license or national ID and customs and immigration won't stop me?
Yes, you can even use your voter's registration card or social security card. As a matter of fact, as a citizen of an OECS protocol member state, you are entitled to indefinite stay when you travel to another OECS protocol member state, so you can live and work without a work permit or skilled national certificate.
As a construction worker here, I could take my trade to Grenada or any other OECS country?
Yes, Frankie, you're straight.
And what about my wife and children's schooling?
Frankie, OECS citizens and their children will be granted equal rights and privileges under the freedom of movement. That includes access to social services, labor market schemes, health and education for your children and your wife.
This free movement thing sounds nice. Hassle-free travel to any OECS country, live and work for as long as you like. The OECS Economic Union is the real deal. For more information, visit www.oecs.org. On June 18, 1981, representatives of the governments of Antigua and Barbuda, the Commonwealth of Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines signed the Treaty of Bastille, establishing a new organization for cooperation among their countries, the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States, OECS. It replaced the West Indies Associated States Council of Ministers, which was devised by the UK government in 1967, under which the countries worked together in civil aviation, tourism, the judiciary, monetary matters, and relations with CARICOM. The OECS has widened to include 3 associated members, including Anguilla, the British Virgin Islands, and as recently as February 2015, the French region of Martinique, creating a regional body of 10 member states. The OECS member states continue to benefit through cooperation in education, the environment, healthcare, and tourism, among other development areas. Through the revised Treaty of Bastille in 2010, the 7 founding member states have also formed an economic union aimed at promoting faster growth and development among themselves. The governing body of the OECS is the OECS Authority, consisting of the head of government of each member state. It is supported by other organs of the OECS, including the Council of Ministers, an Economic Affairs Council, the OECS Assembly, and the OECS Commission. The OECS Commission is the secretariat of the OECS and is headed by a Director General. OECS Integration, uniting for a brighter future for all our citizens. What is the Eastern Caribbean Economic Union? Well, quite simply, an economic union is an agreement among a group of countries that allows the free movement of capital, people, goods and services among these countries without restrictions being imposed. Countries in an economic union also adopt a common set of social policies like access to healthcare, education and jobs, and also monetary policies aimed at ensuring their economies remain stable and prosperous. It's like many small cogwheels coming together to form one large, interdependent, and strong system. Why was the Eastern Caribbean Economic Union established, and which countries are in it? An economic union facilitates a pooling of resources among its members to allow more business and competitive outcomes and enhance economic opportunities for citizens. As of the signing of the revised Treaty of Bastille on June 18, 2010, 7 member states of the OECS established the Eastern Caribbean Economic Union: Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Other OECS member states are free to join the union. How does the Eastern Caribbean Economic Union benefit me? You can now visit, live, and work in any member state without the need for a work permit or skill certificate and have access to all services. Your employment options are therefore expanded. As a consumer, you will have duty-free access to a wider number of sellers beyond your shores, as goods moving between member states will no longer attract import duties and charges. As a business owner, you benefit because you have the right to establish in any member state. So, if say Carib Tile wants to expand across the OECS, there are no longer any restrictions and technical barriers to establishing their business. The union is also good for service providers such as doctors, teachers, tradesmen, accountants, who can now provide their services to clients in other member states. The OECS has a proud history and bright future, and together, through our economic union, we are working to deliver a better standard of living for all of our citizens.
Trust me, gotta cut it up. We all
is Tedderson John. If it's on land, it will end up in the ocean. And for every fish that chokes on our waste, someone's livelihood dies too. Some say, please stop marine pollution. So many islands, familiar connections, sharing resources, one economy.
More than just islands, a civilization of history and culture and shared destiny.
Why wouldn't we care? One Caribbean sea. We all belong here. One economy.
Making future sense of our present tense. We're giving it all we are. Our moment is here.
One Caribbean sea.
Values we all hold dear.
One economy.
Love and glory, the joys of our journey will surely inspire the earth.
Yo, this is Skinny Fabulous. Check this for a second. When your plastics, engine oil, factory waste, and fertilizer runoff end up in the sea, that's a real bad.
Jeffrey Hanley, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister with the responsibility for social development and gender affairs, et al. His Lordship, Justice Patrick Thompson, Resident High Court Judge, other honorable members of the Federal Cabinet, Dr. Didicus Jules, Director General for the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States.
Mr. Tivin Shepard, Program Management Specialist, USAID Eastern and Southern Caribbean Mission. Miss Azeli Clark, Permanent Secretary with responsibility for social development and gender affairs. Other permanent secretaries and senior government officials. Staff of the Ministry of Social Development and Gender Affairs. Staff of the OECS Commission, and I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate them on celebrating their 42nd anniversary, being celebrated under the theme Vision, Integration, Sustainability, Progress. U-Report ambassadors, specially invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to the launch of the Opportunity to Advance and Support Youth for Success, OASYS project. My name is Dwayne Hendrickson, and I have the honor of being your Master of Ceremony for this remarkable event.
And I'm Ayana Franks, and I will be your Mistress of Ceremony. We are delighted to have you here today as we come together for the launch of the OASYS, a program that holds immense promise for youth in St. Kitts and Nevis and the Eastern Caribbean.
Today, we gather to recognize the importance of providing opportunities and support for our youth, especially those who have encountered conflict with the law. We believe that every young person deserves a chance to grow, thrive, and contribute positively to their communities.
Absolutely, Dwayne. Our youth hold incredible potential, and it is our responsibility to provide them with the resources, guidance, and second chances they need to succeed. And OASYS aims to do just that, building on the achievements of the Juvenile Justice Reform Program, known as JJRP.
OASYS will focus on delivering youth away from courts and custodial sentences, supporting rehabilitation centers and diversion programs, and facilitating their reintegration into families and communities. It will address the lack of regulations and protocols while responding to community concerns about reintegration and reducing repeat offending.
Furthermore, OASYS will support alternative sentencing options such as vocational training, drug counseling, and community service. It will strengthen case and data management systems to track progress and inform evidence-based decision-making.
OASYS is being implemented by the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS Commission, with support from the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, and we commend their dedication to empowering youth and shaping a brighter future.
Now, let us proceed with our program. Please rise for the national anthem of the United States of America. Return it.
Thank you. And now let us honor St. Kitts and Nevis with their national anthem. Our national anthem, yes. I am a Kittitian and Nevisian too. So our national anthem.
We're off to an incredible start. Please remain standing as I invite Pastor Tiana Bowie from the Wesleyan Holiness Church in Molyneux to deliver the invocation.
Pleasant evening, one and all. Reverence God with me as we pray. Almighty God, we bow before you this evening, O God, because you are truly worthy to be praised, O God. We bow before you, O God, because you have given us the gift of life and caused us fit to be on the land of the living, O God, and we worship you, O God, because of who you are. Heavenly Father, we thank you for all those who are gathered here for such a project as this, mighty God, because we daily are reminded, O God, because you call the young because they are strong. Mighty God, you are a God of second chances, so we are grateful for projects like these, O God, that help our young people to remember and remind them, mighty God, of who you've called them to be, mighty God. We pray even now, oh God, for this program, and that it will be run to your honor and to your glory. In your name we pray. Amen.
You may be seated. Thank you, Pastor Bori, for your inspiring prayer and words. Now let us take a moment to reflect on the significance of this occasion and the impact it will have on the lives of youth of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yes, Dwayne. Each young person is unique, with untapped potential waiting to be unleashed. Let us remember that our youth are not defined by their past mistakes, but by their boundless possibilities of their future.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. As we proceed with our program, let us keep in mind the importance of providing opportunities, guidance, and support to every young person, especially those who have encountered conflict with the law. Together, we can create a more inclusive and promising future for all.
Okay. I just want to acknowledge the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, Prime Minister of St. Kitts, of the Federation, Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I was not finished. Okay, so as we proceed, where are we? Okay, so our first speaker today is Mr. Tevin Shepherd. He is the Program Management Specialist, Youth, from the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, Eastern and Southern Caribbean Mission. Mr. Shepherd will provide us with a high-level overview of the OASYS project and the vital role that USAID plays in supporting youth development. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Tevin Shepherd.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I will adopt, if you allow me, the protocol which has already been established, but just want to recognize especially the Honorable Prime Minister, the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, Justice, and of course, the OECS Director General, Honorable Excellency Dr. Jadicus Jules. Good evening and congratulations to the OECS on its anniversary. It is a pleasure to be here today to witness the official launch of the United States Agency for International Development funded project, Opportunities to Advance and Support Youth for Success, known as OASYS. This, of course, is a proud moment for all of us as we build on the long-standing partnership between the United States government and the government and people of St. Kitts and Nevis. OASYS builds on the previous USAID OECS Juvenile Justice Reform Project, also known as JJRP. It focuses on strengthening the juvenile justice system by helping St. Kitts and Nevis to fully implement its child justice and protection laws, support rehabilitation centers, and implement programs that help youth reintegrate into their families and communities once they leave rehabilitation centers or facilities. Using a holistic approach, OASYS will offer education opportunities, mentorship, and job training for youth who are in conflict with the law. The project will also work with the community and the private sector to deliver these services aimed at strengthening community and family networks to help young people reach their full potential. OASYS is a 4-year, $5.3 million initiative which the United States government is funding and the OECS Commission is implementing in the Twin Island Federation. The project was designed, of course, in consultation with the government and people of St. Kitts and Nevis, civil society organizations, youth, and international development partners. I would like to express my gratitude on behalf of USAID to the OECS Commission for its leadership in designing the project as we work together on our shared development goals of strengthening citizen security and preventing youth crime and violence. In closing, I want to underscore USAID's commitment to working with the government and people of St. Kitts and Nevis to ensure that the country's youth have the resources they need to reach their full potential and to be able to contribute positively to society. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shepherd, for sharing that overview and how it is important for providing opportunities, guidance, and support to every young person. Additionally, let me thank you and commend and appreciate USAID's commitment to making a positive impact in the Eastern Caribbean region, and particularly St. Kitts and Nevis.
It is at this time in the program where we get to witness the talents of the young people in St. Kitts and Nevis. First, we have Vinell Powell, who will grace us with a soul-stirring solo performance. Let us give her a round of applause.
Good evening, everyone. The pressure is on. Okay. This evening I will be performing two of my original songs, and I really hope you enjoy it. The first song that I'm doing is called Welcome to Nevis. I really wanted to do this song because it talks about the different aesthetic that Nevis has, and why not? You know? So it's okay if you do a little in your seat. You don't have to do too much, mess up your clothes. It's okay. Nevis, welcome, 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 welcome. I live in Nevis, the little dumpling in the Twin Island Federation. This is where I'm from. Land of Emery Polly, land of Herbert Monkey. Welcome to Nevis, the place for you and me. Welcome to Nevis, the best place on earth. Nevis is the land of my birth. To sip a killaby or relax on Penny's Beach. Welcome to Nevis, it's the best place to be. Best place to be. Wait. Nobody jigging in the seat. I have to start over now. This is not my fault. So start it over, please. This is not, no. As much as we're in a nice little formal setting, you could enjoy yourself, right? The youth of St. Kitts and Nevis like to enjoy themselves, yes? Do a little thing, man. They're not so young as well. So, come, let's go. Let's crowd participation. You could just do a little, yeah, this way. Okay. Oh. Thank you. Ready? Thank you, participation from the heads of the country. Appreciate the leadership. Welcome to Nevis, the best place on earth. Nevis is the land Killaby or relax on Pinnis Beach, welcome to Nevis. It's the best place to be. Best place to be. 36 square miles of tranquil serenity. String band music plays, sweet vibes and energy. The hot springs are flowing, Nisbet plantation booming. Come Labigo and Nevis, a place for you and me. Welcome to Nevis, the best place on earth. Nevis is the land of my birth. To sip a Killaby or relax on Pinnis Beach, welcome to Nevis. It's the best place to be. Best place to be. Big up the Nevis people. Welcome, 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 welcome. We can hike to Nevis Peak or go down to Wally Beach. We can jet ski or rent an ATV. Welcome to Nevis. Welcome to Nevis, the best place on earth. Nevis is the land of my birth. To sip a Killaby or relax on Pinnis Beach, welcome to Nevis. Best place to be. Best place to be. Let me hear you, let me hear you. Best. It's the best place to be. Woo. Thank you. Give it up for my Nevis background crew. Alright. So, I do understand that I'm in St. Kitts. So, we have to identify, and we're talking about the OECS. So we are all one loving community, okay? As much as I come from Nevis, Caribbean is the best place, for true. Don't get nice and hot sometimes. So my next song is called We Are One, and I wrote this song because it was a competition, I think, and we needed to write a song to win some money. I didn't win the money, but the song was very good, so I kept the song, right? And it's talking about as one Caribbean community, right? You could dance to this one too. Yeah. Everybody can sing now. We are one. We are one Caribbean community. We are one. We are one Caribbean community. One heart, one soul, one mind, one CARICOM, one heart, one soul, one mind, one Caribbean. If you look on the map south of Miami, you see the Bahamas. We stretch all the way down and around to Guyana. Between those we so many different islands, populated by a friendly people who know we are one. We are one Caribbean community. We are one. We are one Caribbean step off the airplane onto our beautiful isles, you see the mountain and blue sea. And you know in our paradise, you will always be at ease. With fresh fruits galore, the beautiful sunlight, cool sea breeze. On our Caribbean Isles, we'll always take care of you. For we are one Caribbean community. We are one Caribbean community. One heart, one soul, one mind, one CARICOM. One heart, one soul, one mind, one Caribbean. So no matter where you go in the Caribbean, you always feel like you're at home, right? One Caribbean. God bless our islands. God bless our lives. Father God bless our leaders and what they have to do. Allow us to remember we are one. We are one. We are one Caribbean community. We are one. We are one Caribbean community. One heart, one soul, one mind, one CARICOM. One heart, one soul, one mind, one Caribbean. Thank you.
Vinell, before you get seated, I think you're going to get the Nevisians in trouble because you mentioned about some sweet Amrapali mangoes and I don't see any box. You didn't walk with none? You didn't walk with any at all. They're not out of season just yet. But permit me to pay some acknowledgement to the Honorable Senator Merville Janelle Nisbet, Minister with responsibility for health, gender affairs, community affairs, and social services in the Nevis Island administration.
As we continue with the program, our next speaker is Dr. Didicus Jules, the Director General of the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States. And Dr. Jules will share his valuable remarks on the OASYS, advocating for restorative justice for youth in conflicts with the law, and calling for collaboration and support and further investment in young people. Mr. Didicus Jules.
So incredible voice, Janelle. Really incredible. The Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, Prime Minister of the Federation. The Honorable Jeffrey Hanley, Deputy Prime Minister. His Lordship Justice Patrick Thompson, Honorable Attorney General, and other distinguished ministers and guests who I may not necessarily recognize. Other honorable members of the National Assembly, His Excellency Larry Vaughan, CARICOM Ambassador and OECS Commissioner for St. Kitts and Nevis, Mr. Tevin Shepard, Program Management Specialist, USAID, Mr. Zelia Clark, Permanent Secretary with responsibility for social development, other permanent secretaries and government officials, staff of the respective ministries, Mr. Cosbert Woods, I'm not sure if he's here, but staff of the OECS Commission, you report ambassadors, specially invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure that we convene for the launch of a very significant initiative in our ongoing efforts to address the challenges faced by youth in the realm of justice and security. As we gather here, it is really essential to recognize the escalation of crime in many of our OECS member states that we've been experiencing in the past few years. The safety and well-being of our citizens, particularly our youth, have been significantly compromised. The statistics regarding crime and youth involvement in criminal activities are disheartening, and they demand our immediate attention and concerted action. Recent data provided by local authorities reveal distressing trends in crime rates within our societies, with a particular emphasis on the involvement of young males. These statistics underscore the urgency of implementing targeted interventions to rehabilitate our youth and offer them the support they need to live positive and productive lives. Today we gather here to introduce the opportunities to advance and support Youth for Success, OASYS, and a project initiative supported by the U.S. Agency for International Development. OASYS has been meticulously designed to address the pressing needs of our young people who find themselves entangled in the justice system. It aims to divert children and youth from the formal court system, providing them with transformative opportunities for rehabilitation and successful reintegration into their families and communities. Over the next 3.5 years, OASYS will focus on 3 important outcomes: diversion, rehabilitation, and reintegration. By investing in these areas, we can create an environment conducive to the growth and success of our youth. The OECS Commission has been a strong advocate for a paradigm shift in our approach to justice, a shift towards a restorative model that focuses on rehabilitation rather than punitive measures. Research has shown that harsh punishment is ineffective in deterring crime, especially among our young people. This is a viewpoint expressed directly to me only this week by Prime Minister Drew himself. By addressing the root causes of crime and offering support for rehabilitation, we can foster an environment that prevents youth crime and promotes positive outcomes for youth. As we embark on this journey with the OASYS project, let us remain steadfast in our commitment to revising and updating legislation in accordance with international standards and best practices. Let us advocate for a justice system that considers the unique developmental needs and vulnerabilities of young people. By establishing specialized courts and probation services that prioritize the principles of child and youth-centered justice, we can ensure fair and effective outcomes for our youth. Friends, there is another way, and that is the road that we have been traveling for the past 50 years. It is the approach that requires that we incarcerate for every infraction, that we punish for every misdeed, and that we deny the possibility of any redemption. The success of OASYS hinges upon the collaboration and the support of all stakeholders present here today. We need the active involvement of government agencies, community organizations, the private sector, and every member of our community to revise and update our legislation in line with evidence-based best practices. It is time for the paradigm shift in justice reform. By enacting progressive legislation, we can shift our focus from punitive measures to rehabilitation and restorative justice, ultimately reducing recidivism or the rapid return to jail and fostering positive outcomes for youth offenders. Before I conclude, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to USAID for their unwavering support in advancing youth initiatives throughout our region, including and especially in St. Kitts and Nevis. I also extend my deepest appreciation to all of the partners and organizations present here today for their commitment to that cause. I implore other potential partners to join in this movement to invest in our young people holistically, and to recognize that by doing so, we pave the way for a brighter future, free from the shackles of crime and violence. In closing, I want to thank each and every one of you for your presence and your commitment to this vital cause. Together, we can create a safer and more prosperous future for the youth of St. Kitts and Nevis. By working collaboratively and harnessing the collective expertise and resources available to us, we can truly make a lasting impact on the lives of our young people. Let us remember that investing in our youth is not just an obligation. It is an opportunity. It is a chance to shape the leaders, the innovators, and the change makers of tomorrow. It is a chance to break the cycle of crime and provide our youth with the tools they need to succeed and to thrive. I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jules, for your enlightening yet timely remarks, and also highlighting the core principles of the OASYS project, which are diversion, rehabilitation, and reintegration. Let me underscore something he would have mentioned in his remark. The government alone cannot do it. It will require each and every one of us as a community to achieve these objectives. Thank you once again, Dr. Jules.
I also want to underscore the fact that he said that this is not just an obligation, but also an opportunity for young people. Up next, we have another amazing performance by the Fireflies Dance Group, also from St. Kitts and Nevis, and they will showcase their remarkable skills and creativity through a captivating dance performance. Let's give a warm round of applause for the Fireflies Dance Group.
As far as I Lift up my eyes to the hills, I'm blessed, oh no. With my two hands in the air as far as I can. Yeah. As far as I can. I can, yeah. My two hands in the air as far as I can.
Indeed, you can agree with me that was an electric performance. You agree, right? Performing arts could be a next avenue for a diversion program. Thank you again, the Fireflies Dance Group of St. Kitts and Nevis for taking us on a mesmerizing journey through their artistry.
Yes, and I am a lover of dance, and so I have a soft spot. Let's give them another round of applause. That was so amazing. Our next speaker is the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, the Minister of Social Development and Gender Affairs, et al. Dr. Hanley will share his insightful remarks on the importance of supporting our youth and the role of the OASYS project in fostering their growth. Please join me in welcoming Deputy Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley.
Prime Minister, Honorable Terence Drew, Honorable A.G., Honorable Janelle Nisbet, Dr. Didicus Jules, Director General of the OECS Commission and other Commission team members, Mr. Tevin Shepard, Program Management Specialist, Youth USAID, Eastern and Southern Caribbean Mission, our permanent secretaries and other government officials, to our youth, distinguished invited guests, the media, and I must recognize two of my students who are here from Nevis. Pleasure having you guys. Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good evening. It is my distinct pleasure not only to be present to witness the launch of the OASYS project, but also to place on record the thanks and appreciation of the people of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis to USAID for their continued support in the area of youth justice reform. The OASYS project builds on the strengths of 10 years Juvenile Justice Reform Project 2012 to 2022, while seeking to continue to address the weaknesses revealed in the system. One of the major strengths of the JJRP was the drafting of the suite of family laws which were designed to modernize our juvenile justice system. The Federation has the distinction of being the first OECS member state to pass into local law the full suite of draft bills from 2012 to 2013. Being first is both an honor and a challenge, as there is no example to follow. We are now the example. It has been 10 years since the passage of the acts. The OASYS project allows us to critically examine the cornerstone legislation of the reform process, the Child Justice Act, in order to highlight what works best and address the gaps revealed. the OASYS project would help us to address the gaps, all in the name of ensuring that the youth of the Federation and by extension, the OECS region are protected. This is an exercise which would be repeated with the Child Care and Adoption Act. Such a model where every 5 to 10 years, laws are reviewed by technicians in order to identify the strengths and gaps for further revision is a practice to be incorporated into the work of the substantive ministry with responsibility for child protection. With such support of our donor partners, we are more consistent with reviewing our policies and strategies, but a core component to the success of these documents is the legislative framework and provisions. Such realizations that can be incorporated as core practices in our ministries and departments all rebound to the development of not only the individuals, but the system designed to facilitate that individual growth. At the national consultation held earlier this week, I understand that the Ministry of Social Development and Gender Affairs has been challenged to include the church and other religious groups, civil society, and the business fraternity in supporting the efforts of diversion, rehabilitation, and reintegration. This harkens back to the all-of-society approach, which was key to our federation concerning through COVID-19 pandemic and enshrined in our country's motto, which compels us to do for our country above self. Like many of the other OECS member states, our population is predominantly youth under age 35. I just missed it last month. For us to ensure the continuity of the values, gains, and pride of our Twin Island Federation, it is imperative that we ensure that our young people are prepared to maneuver the minefield called life. I take this opportunity to issue a call to service to all citizens to join your government in this action. Your children are our children, and together we can see them grow into productive, grounded, self-assured adults with hopes, dreams, and skills to be all that they can be. As a protection of our next generation is what is at stake, the Federation maintains and supports the coordination role of the OECS Commission in this project. While each member state gains a regional entity of the OECS Commission, would benefit as well as to assist us in storing our regional best practices and sharing with the world how we manage our affairs and the problems of the world as small island developing states. I take this opportunity to thank the project coordinating team led by project manager Ms. Dashaville, I hope I pronounce it correctly, technical specialist Ms. Gravilis, and program assistant Ms. St. Clair for your work undertaken to date and the support to be provided over the 4-year lifespan of the project. I also take this opportunity to acknowledge the members of the National Coordinating Committee for the OASYS project, led by Permanent Secretary, hard-working Ms. Azila Clark. This interministerial committee, made up of representatives from the Ministries of Education, Youth Empowerment, Justice and Legal Affairs, Social Development and Gender Affairs, as well as representatives from the Nevis Island Administration and Youth, is charged to oversee the creation of the country-specific work plans and the successful implementation of the activities. A heavy mandate, but I am assured that we will see results. I have spent my entire life in the service of others with particular focus on our seniors and our youth. I have seen and participated in the issuance of second chances to young people who, for many reasons, made a bad choice which could have left them with a criminal record. Being able to see firsthand how a second chance to be better and do better while accepting responsibility and making amends is the reason why I can assure USAID, the OECS Commission, and the people of the Federation of St. Kitts that this administration remains fully committed to the cause of child protection and child justice reform. Ladies and gentlemen, the OASYS project is another valuable puzzle piece in our nation and the region's fight for child safety and protection. I wish the sponsor, USAID, the Regional Implementing Agency, OECS Commission, and our local National Coordinating Committee the very best for the 4 years duration. Our children and our youth are counting on all of us to snugly fit this puzzle piece into its forever space. Thank you very much. And just before I take my seat, I'm just seeing the Permanent Secretary from Nevis. I recognize Mrs. Wallins. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister Hanley, for that very informative remark. And your commitment to social development is quite evident, and the well-being of our youth is truly commendable.
Okay, and as we proceed with our program, we now have the privilege of experiencing the power of spoken words by Remy Gomes, a talented young man, again, from the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Let us give a warm round of applause for Remy Gomes.
Pleasant good evening to one and all. And the title of my presentation is My Personal Journey. And as the title indicates, it is a journey. So I implore you to please bear with me. They say experience is our greatest teacher. So from that standpoint, I bring you these words. Much older now, but I once was a juvenile, as delinquent as they would come. See, I grew up amongst many strangers in the St. Christopher's Children's Home. 3 square meals was never an issue, but discipline there was little to none. No shrewd advice, no sterling role model. So naturally I was embedded with flaws. No self-control with a hair-trigger temper. I will strive against you without a cause. Disrespectful to all my authoritative figures. Bloody gang fights were a common assault. Got expelled in high school in Fort Farm. At age 15, I was loyal to a fault. Now I graduated, but never in high school. At my own peril, I moved out on my own. And the petty crimes evolved into major crimes. The sticks and stones were replaced with guns. The life I chose, though risky, had its benefit, plus it gave me a great sense of importance. And though my actions had far-reaching consequences, still at no point I had intentions to slow down. Now I am in college, but it's not Clarence Fitzroy. Her Majesty's Prison is the name of that one. Just graduating to life until I received 10 years, I felt grief of staggering proportions. Sleepless night, for hot air is what you breathe in. Trial date stress, the environment is so foul. When someone visit 10 feet away from my loved ones was like an amputation to my soul. If I am lucky, I will sleep on a blanket, but if I am not, my space is under a bunk. And the longer I stay behind these bars, the more I dilute into insignificance. The daily diet lacked all of the nutrients, dehumanizing strip searches and probes. All electronic devices were prohibited. It's a struggle to survive in such a paranoid world. Now I was offered some alternative methods that rehabilitated my thought process in return. I found out even more deaf than the person who cannot hear is the person who does not listen. And the further you step away from the furnace, the less likely the fire will burn. Plus, the further you go down the wrong road, the harder it becomes to find your way back home. So I became a bookworm and enhanced my vocabulary, devoured the dictionary, learned the law, gained some ambition. To be a motivational speaker started out as a dream. Now check social media, you will see what I have done. Then I aspired to be a civil servant. For the record, I'm the deputy in the unit of communications. But first of all, I did all the subjects that were required, and out of 5, I received 4 distinctions. So now I'm home and I'm trending in the right direction. Reintegration is the task at hand. Society must know that when we don't know where to turn, we'll turn back to what we know. Please understand. And when the tides of temptations come creeping in, OASYS will support and help you advance. For it's a proven concept that programs like these are a beacon of hope in our Twin Islands Federation. Thank you very much.
I think Mr. Gums deserves a standing ovation and a round of applause. Thank you, Remy, for sharing your heartfelt spoken word piece. Your words, I could guarantee, have touched hearts and remind us of the transformative power of expression. Not only that, but it highlights OASYS' mission of reintegration.
Not me tearing up. Good job. That was very touching. And I think all of us will remember that spoken word. Now I have the privilege once more of introducing our final speaker today, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, the Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, National Security, Citizenship and Immigration, Health and Human Resource Management, and Social Security of St. Kitts and Nevis. Dr. Drew will provide us with his remarks on the OASYS project and its significance for the Federation. Please give a warm round of applause for Honorable Dr. Terence Drew.
Good evening, all. To get young people out on a Friday night is a difficult task. So it means that OASYS means a lot to the people here already. So I want to really take this opportunity to thank the United States government through the USAID and the OECS authority that have partnered to make sure that this would be a reality here in St. Kitts and Nevis. But before I get into it, let me recognize the Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, for his words and for leading the ministry that would be the ministry that would administer this program for us. Also want to recognize Dr. Didacus Jules, Director General of the OECS Commission, who, of course, would have headed the organization within our region that would partner with USA to ensure that this is done. And Dr. Didacus is here this weekend because we're having a meeting of the OECS Authority, and St. Kitts and Nevis will take the chairmanship. Put your hands together for Dr. Didacus. Also want to recognize Mr. Tivin Shepard, correct? Yes. Program Management Specialist, USAID Eastern and Southern Caribbean Mission. I want to thank you very much as well for being here and for sharing your words with us and for making sure also that this program is a reality, not only in St. Kitts and Nevis, but throughout the sub-region. But I see our Minister from Nevis here, Minister Health, correct? All right, Etal. And I also see the PS from Social Development, Mrs. Zilla Clark, who is also here. I see PS from Legal Affairs, correct, and as you know, Minister Gart was here earlier. But I really want to recognize all of you. But I want to take an opportunity to recognize Mr. Gums. I thought that you put your hands together for him. I know you're correct. All right. I think I met you many years ago, correct? Right. So I did meet him many years ago under different circumstances. And to see him here tonight really expressing so eloquently his life's journey in a way that inspires all of us, I think is a testimony to what he has achieved thus far. And we encourage you to stay on that path. I want to say that in leading a little bit from that as I get into it, I remember many years ago when I had returned as a general practitioner, a young doctor in my 20s, I went to the prison to work. I work in two areas, the prison and the carry home. Those were places nobody wanted to work, but I wanted to work there. And while I was in the prison, I remember there was a young man. He was a teenager, had to be no more than 13, 14. For whatever he had done, he was locked up. And he had been locked up with adults, those who were accused and convicted of heinous crimes. And there he was, a young man in that prison. And then, many years later, I was reading a news clip, only to read that that same young man who had become an adult was charged for murder. So it means, therefore, that this was a young man who, had he been given an opportunity to be rehabilitated, it's very likely that he would not have become a murderer, and that someone would not have lost their life. And in my estimation of all of this, as I look at the situation, I think that society, to some extent, had failed him. And therefore, I think that programs like these, OASYS, is exactly the type of program that we need, so that when we get our young people who are getting in trouble with the law at young ages, that we can step in early and get them back on the straight and narrow and reintegrate them to become, of course, uplifting citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. And therefore, that is why I especially thank OASYS for what it will do for our people. There are two things that really struck me tonight, and I'll speak maybe of one of them. And that is where I heard somebody mention this is the all-society approach. Just recently, as I was studying, since in the early 2000s, I used to study with Dr. Frank. Dr. Frank was a neurologist, behavioralist, psychologist who had set up a center here that we call popularly the Monkey Farm. The Monkey Farm that you know, we call it that in colloquial terms, but it's really a center for neurological studies. And we used to study behavior. But when I went to him first as an aspiring doctor, the first thing he asked me to do was to study the monkey population and to study how monkeys live and how they react and how they act. But in all of the conversation that we had, one of the things that we studied was the issue of violence. And as we studied the issue of violence, and I was studying violence among the monkeys, I asked him a question, he and I started to discuss violence among humans. And one of the things that he told me then is that when he was in Boston studying, he had the opportunity to do his PhD interviewing and studying many of the inmates in the penitentiaries and prisons of Boston. And he recognized that a lot of them had a long past, a long history, that there was a common thread running through all of them. And almost all of them had some issue that was not addressed at a particular time. And he was correct, and that struck me, because violence, you're not born violent. Violence is a learned behavior. Somebody has to teach you. The environment has to enable it. You have to be prone to it, and enabling factors, as mentioned before, to really become someone violent. And then violence lead to crime. And so recently, we had a symposium in Trinidad because the Caribbean had made a significant error. We are one of the most violent places when it comes to interpersonal relationships on earth, interestingly enough. We glorify violence. We don't even know sometimes that we are glorifying violence. Think about it. Think about what Caribbean people say. Me a bad man. You can't mess with me. And we take it as normal. Boy, if you say something, I bust your face. That is normal. But that's the baddest man on the block. Boy, she could Busey. Busey not gonna rule. Think about the things that we say that we have normalized. And we really think that these things are normal. And they are not normal. And so you grow up in an environment like that, and those who are most vulnerable take that type of attitude to the extreme. And that is partly why we are seeing this type of issue within the sub-region. But there's hope, tremendous hope, because all studies have shown that violence is a learned behavior. And what you learn, you can unlearn. You can ask Mr. Guns. That is where the hope lies, and that is why a program like OASYS, without asking where it comes from, it had to be based on scientific study and information. It didn't drop out the sky. And I'm sure if I ask Mr. Shepherd here, he would say the same thing. This had to have been studied, information collated, and a remedy put forward. And what this seeks to do is exactly what we are seeking to do here in St. Kitts and Nevis and throughout the wider Caribbean beyond the OECS, when we say we are going to deal with violence from a public health perspective. This is exactly addressing that. And so when I came here tonight and I read about it and I saw it, I said this is quite timely because it fits nicely into what we are seeking to achieve. Bringing in interministerial, which we have multiple ministries, plus the church is added there. You have the legal system, of course, that was mentioned, and of course, social services. But in putting the task force together to deal with violence from a public health perspective, we'll have even a broader framework to include other ministries so that we can tackle the issues wherever they are found. And so this program, when implemented, will be successful. Because as I've said before, and I mean it, that this has been studied, it has been documented, it has been tested, and with all of that, it has been proven to work. And so I look forward to having many more Mr. Gums. But even before we come to having many more Mr. Gums, once you implement the program right, even the one of dealing with violence from a public health perspective, even before you get into trouble with the law or the justice system, we want to make sure that you get the correct instruction, that the intervention is extremely early so that you don't even have to end up in an OASYS program. And so, thank you very much. As I wrap up tonight, I want to say to our young people to leave some words that I hope would penetrate. That any life that is a life of crime and violence leads to death and destruction. I implore you to choose positivity, to be an example that your community will be proud of, that your families would be proud of, that you yourself would be proud of. And as we seek to assist you in many different ways, that is why we want school to be free and college to be free. That is why we want to make it easier for you to get to university. That is why we decrease interest rate on student loans, and we freeze student loan payments so that there will not be a barrier for you to advance yourself. That is why we have created an orange economy, so that those who are into poems and singing and dancing, the creative arts, that you can find space. That is why we are expanding sports and bringing CONCACAF and giving more scholarships for sports so that you can seek other ways of advancing yourselves. We want to give you the opportunities that you deserve, but we can only, as we say in colloquial Caribbean terms, we can carry what to the water? The what? The horse to the water or the donkey? In Caribbean we say donkey, right? You can carry the donkey to the water, but you can't make the donkey. So you as young people, you have to also bear some of the responsibility. And finally, I want to say to the United States of America that we appreciate your contribution that you are making towards dealing with the issue of crime and violence within our sub-region of the OECS. I want to assure you that we will use the resources provided to the best that we can use them to ensure that we achieve the result that we seek to achieve. And this, of course, is extremely hopeful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister, for your inspiring and empowering words. Thank you for challenging us as young people to be positive, to be examples, and definitely to be proud of ourselves. Your leadership and dedication to the well-being of the youth in St. Kitts and Nevis are truly commendable.
I agree, Dwayne. What an insightful program we are having tonight. Are you guys having a good time? I'm sorry, the mic working? Are you guys having a good time? Are you guys learning? That's what we want. As we near the end of this momentous event, we would like to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude to all the speakers and performers who have graced us with their presence today. Each of you have shared invaluable perspectives, talents that have truly enriched this occasion.
We would also like to extend our appreciation to the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, and all the individuals and organizations involved in making the OASYS project a reality. Your unwavering support and commitment to youth development are making a lasting impact on the lives of the young people in the Caribbean region.
Lastly, we would also like to thank each and every one of you here in the audience for being here today and for your dedication to the well-being and success of our young people. It is through our collective efforts, as it was reiterated tonight, and support that we can create a brighter and more inclusive future for all.
But before we conclude, I would like to invite young entrepreneur and former Young Leaders of America fellow, Mr. Janeel Boone, to deliver the closing remarks and the vote of thanks. Please welcome Mr. Janeel Boone.
Good night, good evening, everyone. You guys look so good. I thought we were supposed to be casual. I sat next to Amy for the entire night and did not realize that we are so similar. Why I grew up pretty much in similar circumstances like you, and I'm one that said, I'm gonna become better. And I've decided and pushed for such. Thank you to the master and mistress of ceremony. It has been an honor to witness the launch of this OASYS project and to be a part of this remarkable event. On behalf of the youth ambassadors and the entire youth community, I would like to express deepest gratitude to all distinguished guests, speakers, performers who have made this event truly remarkable. First and foremost, I would like to acknowledge our Prime Minister, Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, whose mere presence today speaks volume, and his dedication to the youth, or speaks volume about his dedication to the youth of St. Kitts and Nevis. Your support, sir, is inspirational to all of us, and we are truly grateful for your commitment. To the Minister of Social Development, Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, we appreciate your inspiring remarks and your dedication to creating and enabling an environment for growth for the youths, particularly those with conflict with the law. We are immensely grateful to the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean State, OECS, for their unwavering commitment to creating opportunities for youth and implementation of this OASYS project. We would like to extend our gratitude to the United States and the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, for their continuous support and investment to youth development. We also like to express a heartfelt appreciation technology. Yes, sorry, technology. And we also like to express a heartfelt appreciation to all talented performers and those who grace us with their extraordinary skills and creativity. I heard Vinel Powell say that the pressure is on. The pressure is indeed on. Your performances has filled us with awe and inspiration, especially you, Remy. Let us remember that every youth, young person deserves an opportunity to strive, to thrive, to grow, and to continually, can I have my water?
vibe. Trust me, gotta cut it out. We all have to stop that. And that's the
More than just islands, we're one ocean nation. All beautiful emeralds set in one sea.
More than just islands, one blue ecosystem. Each shimmering jewel made so wondrously.
Why wouldn't we care? One Caribbean sea.
We all belong here.
One Caribbean sea.
Loving and living and raising our children to cherish the land so far birth.
Why wouldn't we care? One Caribbean sea. We all belong here. One Caribbean sea. And we will endure if we can just secure our treasures of blue sky and surf.
Hey family, this is Tedison John. If it's on land, it will end up in the ocean. And for every fish that chokes on our waist, someone's livelihood dies too. Some say, please stop marine pollution.
Wow. I guess we can add that to the list of performances too. Let us all remember that every young person deserves an opportunity to thrive, grow, and contribute positively to our society. With the launch of the OASYS project, we are taking a significant step towards realizing the vision. The government staff of the various ministries in St. Kitts, the Permanent Secretary Azila Clark, and Ms. Dawn Henry, the Executive Officer Sandy Powell-Liebert, and Assistant Secretary in St. Kitts. From Nevis, the Assistant Secretary General. Michelle Liebert Rollins. I'm gonna finish.
Go ahead, sit in a chair.
Push the chair forward. Go forward.
We appreciate his dedication to attempt to finish his vote of thanks. So can you just give him some encouragement and a round of applause? As our Prime Minister give him some medical attention. Service first, right? I will just wrap up his vote of thanks for him. He was lastly thanking Michelle Libert-Rollins, Assistant Secretary, have demonstrated dedication to the important cause. Your efforts have not gone unnoticed, and we are deeply grateful for your hard work. We cannot forget the service providers, such as the decorators, communications, and audio-visual personnel, and the hotel staff, who have all played a role in making this event a success. Lastly, we want to thank each and every one of you in the audience for your patience here today. Your support and commitment to youth in our community are invaluable, and we encourage you to continue champion their rights and well-being. Thank you once again, and let us continue to work together to create a brighter future for our youth.
Okay, well, thank you, Janelle. Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you, everyone. With that, we conclude the launch of the OASYS project. May the momentum and enthusiasm generated here today continue to fuel our commitment to empowering the youth and building a better tomorrow.
Thank you all for joining us today, and have a wonderful evening ahead. But before you leave, we want to invite you to join us, for some light refreshment and cocktails. I also want you to
Since 1981,